Tonight we're continuing on the Pythagorean theorem. So here we have a right triangle. Let's start by writing down the Pythagorean theorem, and then we'll plug in the values and see what we're solving for. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember that a and b represent the legs of the right triangle. In other words, the two sides that if you made a square out of their lengths would be the two smaller squares. And then c represents the length of the longest side, and to find the area of that side you would need to square it. So here I see that I have 12, x, and 13. 12 and x are the two legs. So we're solving for either a or b in this equation. We know what c is. C is equal to 13. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave, I'll replace x with a in my equation. So I'll leave a squared alone. However, b squared is going to be 12 squared, and c squared is going to be 13 squared. Alright, so we're looking for the area of that small square that would need to add to 12 squared in order to equal 13 squared. Well, 12 squared is 144, and 13 squared is 169. So if I solve this equation for a, I would subtract 144 from each side. I would get a squared equals 25. All right, so the area of this little square here is going to be 25. That means if we take the square root, we're going to get the side length of that square. So the sides are lengths of 5. And that's our answer for this. This missing side is 5 long. All right, here we have a picture of our right triangle situation. Again, let's start by writing the Pythagorean theorem. And let's identify where our right angle is. Our right angle would be right here, assuming that flagpole is straight up and down, even with the ground. That forms a 90-degree angle. So we can see the height of 12, and then the length of the person standing away from the pole is represented by the letter B. So we're solving for B in this case, one of the missing legs. And the line of sight from the person standing looking up to the top of the flagpole, that would represent the hypotenuse of a right triangle formed here. So 15 is going to equal C. The height of the pole will equal A. All right, so let's solve for B. Well, 12 squared is 144. 15 squared is 225. We're going to subtract 144 from each side. So we'll have b squared equals 81. And then we'll take a square root of both sides. Therefore, b will equal 9. So this person is standing 9 feet away from the 12-foot tall pole, and the line of sight from that person up to the top of the pole, that straight distance would be 15 feet. All right, here's our right triangle situation. There's our 90-degree angle. Pause your video, solve for the missing side x. Welcome back from pausing the video. Let's start with our Pythagorean theorem. All right, so these two sides would represent the two legs of the right triangle. 25 is the hypotenuse, so 25 goes in place of C. All right, and let's say that B is represents X there, okay? So we'll leave B alone. And let's say A is the 7. All right, now let's solve for B. So 7 squared is 49. 25 squared is 625. And now subtract 49 from each side. We get b squared equals 576. Let's take the square root of each side to find out what b is. So b equals 24. That's it. How'd you do? Okay, let's try one more. There's our right angle. Pause your video and solve for side z. Welcome back from pausing the video. Let's start with our Pythagorean theorem. All right, this time the two legs of the triangle are 15 and 18, and we're solving for the hypotenuse, the longest side. So it says z, but we're really solving for c, same thing. 15 squared equals 225. 18 squared is 324. Let's add those two together. 324 plus 225, that equals 549. Now, this one is not going to be a perfect square. The closest perfect square we have here is probably 576. That's 24 squared. 23 squared is 529. So this number is going to be between 23 and 24. So we're going to get a decimal, and we'll just give the best estimate of our decimal. So take your calculator, take 549, hit the square root button. Okay, on my calculator I get 23.4 to the nearest tenth. So I'll put a little squiggly there above my equal sign. That lets me know, or lets whoever is reading this answer know, this is an approximate answer. It's not an exact answer. We can't get an exact answer because that 549 is not a perfect square. All right, so how'd you do? All right, that's all for tonight. Remember, read some books.